Hi, Tim Sells here. In this video, I'm going to be talking about solving your lead generation challenges. And this is whether it's you or your team members that you're helping. And so I had a bit of an epiphany. So I was on an incentive trip, and my marketing guy, he happened to have sent me something, and I'll show it to you in a minute. Basically, the statistics of the comments that people had made having to do with my last two videos. And as I studied it, I had a big, huge epiphany. So this is what Nick sent me. All right. And so it was basically a breakdown, 1A, 1B, 1C, and so forth. And so this is what I asked people to decide what was stopping them or blocking them from generating leads. Here's an example. So don't believe you can succeed in network marketing. That was a higher altitude. The next one, trying to force your stuff instead of just doing it. Won't confront what's stopping you, and so forth. Okay. And so these right here, he highlighted, and then there's a graph to show it. Each one of these things, I looked at it and I had an epiphany about what it was. So what I said to Nick is they're not confronting the beingness that is required to generate leads. Beingness. Well, who are you being? That's kind of the first step in anything, is you have to put on the identity. I always look at actors, and I especially appreciate those that play completely different types of roles. You know, Clint Eastwood always played the same character.
Say what?
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 Why, what?
What's that?
What happened?
What's up? Am I being paranoid, or is he busting my balls?
That's terrible.
And then there's other people who play just drastically different roles, and that is assuming the beingness.
Well, that's just swell. It's swell. Swell. Marvelous. Marvelous.
Here's the phrase that I always hear: I've never done this before. So when that hits the person first, it's kind of down in, like, I don't know what to do. It's kind of victim, right? And so what you want to do is you want to immediately like pull that up and say, okay, everything that I am today, I wasn't before, and so just have that simplicity. And then you just look at the thing in high interest, whatever it is, right? So my wife bought a badminton whole set, comes home with it, and I think it was like a 4th of July or something like that, and she wanted to play badminton with the kids, and the kids were like, what's this little birdie? And so I said, let's just look at it. Let's look at it like it's Christmas. And what do we got here? Well, all right, so this little birdie, wow, he's heavy on one end, and then these rackets, I guess we hit them or something, and then let's string up this net across, and so we just started hitting back and forth. No instructions, no anything, just high interest. Look at the thing, just curiosity. And so then just start stepping into just hitting it back and forth. And then we were like, how does somebody win or lose here? Now, where are those instructions? And so it was more that sort of, you've got to just immediately in high interest, right? So that's the key thing. So all it takes to become something is to follow the movements, actions, and forms of the thing you want to become. All right. From the get-go, what did I do? I answered an ad newspaper. I drove to the guy's house. I sat in his living room, and then he did a presentation to me. All right. I then went on an operation in the military, and then I came back. Then he invited me to a meeting at a hotel. Okay. What did I just see in that process? Okay. So how did he get me? He ran an ad. All right. I looked at advertisements and I said, wow, I don't have the money to run an ad in the Washington Post like he did for me. Okay. What else can I do? So that's the process that I went through And that was a process of basically a day. I went into the Washington Post. I found where they, you could advertise in there. I called them and asked them, what did it cost? They told me, and I was like, wow, all right, not yet. And so I left there. And then immediately I said, all right, I gotta talk to people. All right. So I called my upline, Rick, and I said, who do I talk to? And he said, well, who do you know? And I said, well, I've got my family. And he goes, good. And then he goes, all right, who else? And I go, well, I got my colleagues around me here. And he goes, good. And I have people that I've known. So there I was. That was my warm list, if you will. I called them all in less than a week and got some people, didn't get others. And then I was like sitting at the kitchen table and I was like, now what? And that's when I was like, well, I live in a neighborhood. There's houses all the way down there. That means there's people. I wrote up a little flyer. I Xerox copied it. And then I went and put it underneath their doormat. So I just walked the neighborhood. I don't know, maybe there was 50 houses in that neighborhood. So that was the very first outbound generation. If you go to the grocery store, and that was another place I put them. If you go to the grocery store, they had a cork board, and that used to be the help wanted, the babysit hunter, like all of these things were all on a cork board at the grocery store in those days. And so I put a flyer on there, with little tear off. That's really the way that I did it. And then I added a voicemail message that they could call a phone number and they could listen to just a quick briefing on what it was about. I would find busy areas and I would just hand these things out. They'd cross the street. And as soon as they got to this side of the street, I'd hand it to them. Okay. There was a garbage can right down there, and about half of them ended up right there. And I knew it. And so I said, you know what? I need more engagement. And so then I started doing other things. I started going up to people doing surveys and various different things. This is what you have to do if you don't have money to generate leads so that the lead comes to you. That'll school you well. I don't regret anything at all, ever. There is no room in my life for regret. I believe that it chisels a person. It's carving the person up where they are who they are. When I started handing out brochures, people looked at me condescendingly, but yet they didn't know who I was. They don't know that I'm on the front lines of special operations. They don't know I skydive. They don't know that I know weapons. They don't know all these things. And so just putting on the beingness of handing out flyers, you got to have brass. You know what I mean? Like, it's Confront. So where did I get Confront from? Well, I knock doors down and we go in shooting and they're shooting at us. Well, that's a lot of Confront. Me handing out flyers was a nothing burger, it was no factor on me whatsoever. And when they would look at me condescendingly, I kind of chuckle because they have no idea who I am anyway. And they would do it to anybody. And then when I realized, you know what, I won't have to do this when I'm making money. That's the great news. And in a large way, I miss those days. So you're getting this idea now of the whole picture. So you put on the jacket or you put on the hat, so my very first statement is they're not confronting the beingness of generating leads. That was the first phrase. What's next? Well, you're going to have to look with high interest at the beingness and the doingness required to have leads. So now you see all of this thread come together here. I want the audience to really understand what I saw was they're not confronting the beingness. Every one of them, they're not confronting the beingness. Okay, so whether I stripped it down into, little sentences, all of it, the big, huge, elephant is the one thing, which is you're not putting on the beingness. Not fully. All right, so we started this video off talking about the challenges in lead generation and what I recognized as being a very simple thing. It's just going into the beingness of it, right? And so what's your next step? Please comment, because it really helps, number one, the channel algorithm, but it also helps all the other people who are wondering where everybody else is, and if they're the lone wolf and things like that. And then number two, what's the next thing you need to do to become a lead generator? You do a little thing, a little tiny thing, and a little bit more and a little bit more. Pretty soon you're just generating unlimited leads, right? You have too many to talk to. And so what's your next thing there? If you like this kind of content and you want us to do more of it, please like, share, and subscribe. And then also we have a Telegram channel that you're welcome to join. Thanks so much.
Here's to us ducks, because we don't give a quack.
I'll be back.